evening to my many friends and heroes. And every time I'm with a group of veterans, I always think that how you fit the words of First Lieutenant Travis Mannion when he said, if not me, then who? And if not you, then who? And thank you. And thank Colonel Stacy Garrity, retired, each and every one of you for serving us and protecting our liberties. Now we ask God's blessings to please God, our Father Almighty, bestow upon each and every one of our veterans and those serving today, especially the war theater, that you continue to grant them strength, conviction, loyalty, and service, and you protect in their hearts them and their families, and you continue to strengthen in each and every one of us your presence to continue to lead our nation among all the nations to showcase freedom and liberty, and to make sure that each and every one of our men and women return safely home. God, we ask this in your name, and we ask you to bless all the men and women in this room who have served us, and Colonel Stacy Garrity, retired. Thank you for allowing them to be with us. Thank you for blessing them in their service. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please welcome United States Air Force veteran Chuck Holloway for a toast to the flag.
What can I say to you, old flag? You are so great in every fold, so linked to mighty deeds of old, so calm, so firm, so still, so true. Our hearts thrill at the very sight of you, old flag. And there you stand, colors bright. We think 'tis only right that since you neither brag nor boast, we bring to you this heartfelt toast. The Toast to the Flag by John J. Daly. Here's to the red of it. There's not a thread of it, no, nor a shred of it, in all the spread of it, from foot to head. But heroes bled for it, faced steel and lead for it, precious blood shed for it, bathing it red. And here's to the white of it, thrilled by the sight of it. Who knows the right of it, but feels the might of it, through day and night. Womanhood cared for it, made manhood dare for it. Purity's prayer for it, keeps it so white. And here's to the blue of it, beauteous view of it, heavenly hue of it, star-spangled dew of it, constant and true. Diadems gleam for it, states stand supreme for it, and liberty's beam for it brightens the blue. And here's to the whole of it, stars, stripes, and pole of it, body and soul of it, oh, and the roll of it, sun shining through. Hearts in accord for it, swear by the sword for it, thanking the Lord for it, red, white, and blue. God bless America. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Army veteran Dave Christian.
Evening, folks. Everybody find a parking place out there? I'm over at Wawa. So if Wawa has a problem, I have a problem then. But I know Stacy. So I just want to share with you, it's been a few years back, I was asked by, please everyone sit down that has a seat. For those of you who want to sit on the floor, that's all I can offer you, there's no more chairs. But I was in Russia, and the Iron Curtain had fallen, and I just happened to be in Moscow. I got a call from the Republican National Committee, and they'd asked if I would come back to the States and do a show with Brian Gumbel and Pat Schroeder and Max Cleland, all these different people, but I was the only Republican person there coming back. And I said, well, what's the issue? And I had already stood on the steps of Moscow and the steps of the White House there, and they call it the Billy Dome. And people were already praying for George Bush Sr., the father, to be reelected, and they thought he was going to be elected. They said, well, the issue is, with a veteran serving your country, help a person going into office over a non-veteran who had no experience. And my answer was, it couldn't hurt. So they said, well, get on a plane, the next plane back to New York. You're going on, Good Morning America. Brian Gumbel's the moderator, and we're going to ask these questions. And believe it or not, they twisted and turned everything that about serving a veteran and serving one's country to trying to make Bill Clinton look like the superstar, and George Bush, the father, who was shot down in the Pacific and was rescued by a submarine. They made like he was the bad guy. So neither Brian Gumbel nor any of the folks in the audience there, they really weren't receiving my words too well, but I want to tell you that having a veteran versus a non-veteran means a whole lot to the veterans community, to the Gold Star mothers, to the spouses of veterans, to those that know a veteran, to know those that know that someone's been in the sting of battle. Stacy Garrity is a legitimate, true veteran. A colonel, someone who has given her service for over 30 years, I have heard. Pretty exciting. And to run against someone who doesn't know what veterans need. Veterans need, Stacy will know what post-traumatic stress syndrome is. Stacy will know what disabilities are. Stacy will know what the absence of someone who is serving their country and what it means to the loved ones, the children, the wives, the husbands that are left behind. Stacy will understand. She has felt the sting of battle. And I know that Stacy knows because my mother served with General Douglas MacArthur in World War II, and she happened to be his press person and doing press releases. Her typewriter broke. She left the Philippines, went on to New Guinea and Australia. She came back with MacArthur. When her typewriter broke back in the Philippines, she called down to what was called a typewriting pool. There's no such thing today as a typewriting pool. And they sent this tall, lanky guy, and he happened to be from Alabama, and he was about 6'3" or 6'4", and my mother was 4'11". They were smitten. I'm glad I came out in the middle. But I can tell you, veterans' benefits weren't what they are today. And my mother, unfortunately, my father had a substance abuse problem, and he left my mother. I was 7 years old. My younger brother was 7 months old. My mother was a veteran in a combat zone and had 4 children. And my mother died of stress at 44 years of age. A couple months after she pinned my bars on as the youngest second lieutenant since the Civil War. I was a young teenager going to lead men into battle. What is the difference between Stacy and her opponent? Stacy knows the needs of this veterans community. I know the needs of this veterans community. I've experienced the sting of battle, and when I came back, there's people in this room that'll tell you that we fought for veterans. We started what was called the Governor's Veterans Outreach Center. The reason we called it governor, we had to work a deal with Governor Thornburg at the time. We were coming back. We all went in the service. We didn't know where we were going. Some of us went to Vietnam. Some went to Germany. Some went to Puerto Rico. But people came back. We all had the same worry. Our families had the same worry. But they didn't know what was going to happen at the Veterans Administration. They didn't want to go to the Veterans Administration. So as a veteran, I worked out a deal with the U.S. Department of Labor and the Secretary of Labor and the Governor of Pennsylvania to start outreach centers. We started an outreach center in Levittown, Pennsylvania. We started one in Allentown. We started one in Philadelphia. We started one in Dauphin County, in Westmoreland County, and we started one in Erie, Pennsylvania. We covered the state. We blanketed the state because we knew that veterans were somewhat intimidated by the bureaucracy of the Veterans Administration. But going in and seeing another veteran across the desk, and believe it or not, in many places, there are more non-veterans working for the Veterans Administration than are veterans. So you wonder why some of the veterans have a complaint that they've been treated with a cold shoulder. And there's your answer. And in the state of Pennsylvania, you have contracts, 5% of contracts are to be given out, billions of dollars in contracts, and they're saying they cannot find veterans. You also know everybody in here has come in a car, and someone was driving that car, and someone had a driver's license in that car. And when you renew your driver's license, it said, do you want to check off and give $3 or $5 to the Veterans Fund? Well, veterans very rarely get that fund. It goes to everybody else. The Veterans Outreach Centers that I started, millions of dollars came into the state for veterans. Millions. Then Governor Rendell was elected, and he thought it'd be better to take and put that money, instead of going directly to veterans in an outreach center, to go to health and welfare, and veterans can go over there. Well, all veterans are not street people. Most veterans have a tremendous amount of dignity. They served their country, they served it proudly, wherever they served. They got out, most with honorable discharges, and they wanted to serve their community, serve their family. That's why you need Stacy. That's why you need the fight for Stacy, because Stacy has the fight for us. She believes in us. I look at the history of our country here, and you know, we have veterans in the Revolutionary War. They had to fight. I was out at Valley Forge General Hospital for almost 2 years as a patient. I was machine gunned across the chest. I was paralyzed in this hand. It just kind of went like this, the arm. And I was burnt with napalm, 40% of my body, 2nd and 3rd degree burns. I was medically retired from the Army, but I went to Valley Forge General Park all the time that I could get out of the hospital. Whenever I could get out, they would take us there in a van, and you just think that you're in the midst of the heroes, the spirit of heroes, and they were with us. Those that made our country. And yet those that made our country, they had to fight for years and years. The majority of people that fought in the Revolutionary War died before they got any benefits. And then all during the 1800s, people died before they got benefits. And we started putting together. We, as I say, veterans, if a veteran can't turn to another veteran for help, then who can he turn to? Veterans need veterans. We need Stacy. Stacy's walked in our shoes. So I share with you tonight that it's very important that you're sitting here, that you came out, tough traffic getting here. Hopefully nobody got a ticket. You got a parking spot, you're here. It's the people that didn't get a parking spot that are waiting outside. But I share with you to call, go home, and share with other people. We need veterans in office. And there's less and less veterans. People are fighting over property tax relief for veterans. Why? If a veteran is willing to give their service, and a veteran is willing to give their life, we don't know where we're going to be sent. And if you end up on the front lines, you scratch your head and you think, geez, I'm too pretty to be here on the front lines. They must have made a mistake. So, but unfortunately or fortunately, and I think it was fortunate for me, I had a wonderful experience, not in being shot, not in being burned, but in serving next to heroes, in serving with heroes, in letting my mother look down from the sky at her son, leading men into battle. And now today, we have men and women in the sting of battle. and my mother's looking down saying, please, David, make sure the right people get into office to take care of those that are giving their all. And Stacy Garrity is the right person. On that note, I see so many veterans leaders in this room here, but I'd like to turn it over to the next speaker, because the real person we come to see is the person we're all talking about, and that's Stacy. God bless everyone for showing up today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Navy veteran Liz Ferry.
Good evening, everyone. So nice to see you all here. Wow, what outstanding remarks, Captain. Thank you. A round of applause for Captain. It's really amazing. So for those of you I haven't met, I'm Liz Ferry, and I'm chair of the Montgomery County Republican Committee, so thanks for inviting me to Bucks County. It's great to be here. I am a naval reservist. I'm also, my husband served in the Army for 23 years as a warrant officer, so I'm also a Army wife. My son served in the 4th Infantry Division, just got out of Syria about a year ago, so I'm an Army mom. All those things. And my dad was in the Navy. So I tell you this because he used to quote to me various things. And one of the people he liked to quote a lot was Winston Churchill. And I'm going to paraphrase, so forgive me. But it's something to the effect of men and women don't follow leaders who keep their ears to the ground. And sadly, Josh Shapiro is somebody who keeps his ears to the ground. I've never witnessed in my, and I won't tell you how old I am, many years of doing this, somebody who waits as long as he does to see which way the wind is blowing before he makes a decision. It's really atrocious. The man has no core beliefs or core convictions. We know that Stacy Garrity has strong core beliefs and core convictions and will work on our behalf as Pennsylvanians and veterans. Josh Shapiro first said he was for data centers, and now he's against them. He first said he's for school choice, to get kids into better schools, and now he's against it. He just recently said he's for law enforcement, and last week, you didn't hear a peep out of him letting second-degree murderers out of jail. The man has no core beliefs, and it's so important. We all work so hard to get Stacy Garrity elected as governor. And I know in Montgomery County, and I know Bucks and Chester and Delaware and even Philly are going to work as hard as they can to get Republicans out to vote, because when we vote, we win. So please, I'm asking you to talk to your neighbors, your family, your friends, and make sure they vote. Have a plan to vote, whether by mail-in ballot or in person. Please make sure you vote. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm thrilled. Thank you so much for letting me speak for a minute. And go Stacy Garrity.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bucks County GOP Chairman Ted Christian.
Howdy. Welcome to Bucks County. Most of you are from here, so I appreciate you turning out on a soggy, steamy evening. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all you do. Appreciate your support for Stacy. I am the new Bucks County Republican chairman. Bucks County, arguably the most important county in the country, and we intend to stay that way. Hopefully in a different way as we go from more purple to more red here in coming years. Wanted to, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for all the hard work that you put in. I want to ask you to just lean in a little bit more this year. Very important year for us. You know our local races, our congressmen and our state senate and state legislators running, as well as some of our challenger races. Everyone's going to be watching. I had the pleasure of meeting Stacy back during the not so fortunate days of COVID in 2020. And when she first ran for treasurer and faced large odds against a much better funded candidate and overcame those odds and beat him, did so again 4 years later in her reelection, this time not as the insurgent, as the top vote getter in political history in Pennsylvania. She is not only the hardest worker I know, she's the best civil servant and government minded person I've ever met. And I think that we need to recognize that the work that we do here in Bucks County is going to show out on Election Day. I ask you to keep pushing hard for us, work for the entire ticket. Thank you for being here for Stacy tonight, and I'll see you out in the crowd here in a little bit. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Governor Jim Cawley.
Got that right. So while the introduction was generous, let me point out, as many of you who are paying attention to our state government, it actually should have been former Lieutenant Governor Jim Cawley, but proud Bucks County native and still a proud resident of Bucks County. And it is so great to be here with all of you in our beautiful Bucks. And as I look around this room, I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of friendly faces, but a couple that I think deserve our special recognition. Running for the state senate, Greg Bankos is here with us. And running for state representative right here in this district, Mike Murphy is here with us. You know, when we think about this race for governor, the choice is actually pretty simple. And I'm not talking about partisanship. And I'm not talking about ideology. Look, we know what's at stake ideologically. On one side, we have someone who's committed to lower taxes, affordability in our daily lives, lower prices, making sure that we have a limited government, and that we rely on the engine that has always fueled our great nation. We rely on one another. We rely on the private sector. And on the other side, we have somebody that we very well know loves to raise taxes, believes that the state is the answer to all of our problems, and does not believe in the power and strength of the individual. We know that. We know that. But let's take that out of it. Let's take partisanship out of this election. Let's take ideology out of this election. And let me invite you to join me in an exercise for a minute. Imagine yourselves, each one of you individually, as the chairman of a board of a pretty large-sized corporation. In fact, it's a $50 billion corporation. Now, your current CEO, his contract is expiring. And there are a lot of people who saying, just keep the guy. But you say, no, let's go out and see who else is available. And you find this candidate, this great dynamic candidate, who has spent her life in service to her country, to her commonwealth, and to her community. And she's living, breathing, dedicated every day to making your company stronger, better, more prosperous. And then you look at the guy that you have, who really is saying to, yeah, you know, I'd like a new contract. Not sure I'm going to be around to finish it. See, I got my eyes on this other job at a bigger company. And when you look at the performance of your current guy, you realize that your costs are through the roof, your revenues are next to nothing, and that you're moving in the wrong direction. Now, folks, of those two candidates, you as chairman of the board, who are you going to hire? You're going to hire the person who is dedicated, who is committed, who has been working every day to make your company stronger. You're going to hire Stacy Garrity. Now, when you look at what Stacy has done over the last 5.5 years as our state treasurer, there's another stark difference as well. Stacy has worked tirelessly to return hard-earned money to the people of Pennsylvania. She's been more aggressive and more dynamic about that than perhaps any of her predecessors. The other guy, as we all know, just wants to dig deeper and deeper and deeper into your pocket for more taxes. Again, as I said at the beginning, the choice is clear. We need Stacy Garrity to be our governor. And the fact, that was an applause line, by the way. You can clap there. And the fact that I have the great honor of standing here in this room with so many veterans, and in particular, I want to again recognize and thank for his inspiring words, Captain Dave Christian. I not only have the honor of knowing this American hero, I have the honor of calling him my friend. In fact, we grew up in Levittown, right around the corner from one another. Although, admittedly, Dave was a senior when I was a freshman. But the fact that Stacy has placed emphasis on this coalition being one of the most vibrant, being one of the most important to her campaign, speaks volumes about her integrity and her character. You know, you can tell a lot about a community by the way it treats its veterans. And I know that in a Garrity administration, the veterans are going to get what they need and they deserve. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to join me in welcoming to the stage the next governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Stacy Garrity.
Hello. You guys, thank you all so much for coming out. It truly means the world to me. Love Bucks County. But thank you, Jim, for that incredible introduction. So Jim Cawley served our Commonwealth so proudly as Lieutenant Governor, and he has been an incredible supporter, counselor, a friend. And our victory this November will be in large part thanks to the work of Jim Cawley that he does for us every day. Thank you, Jim. Let's give it up for Jim. And another unsung hero is Matt Jacoby, who did the pledge. Thank you. Yes. But Matt is truly being a leader of the Veterans Coalition, so thank you, Matt, for everything you do. Liz Ferry, not only a proud Navy veteran, but chair of the Montgomery County Republican. So Liz, that's great. And Ted Christian, brand new county chair of Bucks, and both he and Liz are working so hard to get good Republicans elected up and down the ballot. Thank you for what you're doing. Yeah. Priscilla, that was a beautiful rendition of the anthem. Every time I hear you do that, it gives me goosebumps. I absolutely love this woman. And our toast. Great job. And what can we say about Captain Dave Christian, right? He was awarded, you guys, 7 Purple Hearts, 2 Silver Stars, 2 Bronze Stars, the Distinguished Service Cross, youngest, most decorated service person in the Vietnam War. Thank you, Dave. You're truly a hero. And of course, we have so many veterans out there, the less than 1% that put on the uniform, but are responsible for all the freedoms that we all enjoy today. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you, guys. But 250 years ago, right down the road from where we're standing tonight, our nation's founders stood up, and they did something that the world had never seen. Stood up to the largest empire in the world, and what did they say? Enough. And out of that moment, our Commonwealth became the birthplace of freedom and liberty, the place where America's enduring dream of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness began. A movement that has freed more people economically and socially than in the history of mankind. And yes, and wasn't it disgraceful when our governor didn't want to celebrate at the Great American State Fair? I went there the day before our senators, in a bipartisan way, opened it up. I went with Congressman G.T. Thompson. You're standing there in the mall, looking across the mall, you see California, you see New Jersey, you see Massachusetts behind us. I was standing there with no flag, and the doors were locked. They were actually, so very disgraceful. But it's because of our veterans who have fought off tyranny around the globe for 250 years, the Revolutionary War, Civil War, 2 world wars, Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and many other conflicts. Thank you. Thank you. So I served for 30 years as part of the Army Reserve, so 3 deployments. Now I'm going to age myself. So Operation Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom. My last deployment was in 2008-2009. I was acting battalion commander at Camp Bucca, which is in southern Iraq, which was the largest internment facility for enemy combatants. And I have to tell you, so you all veterans know this, so I hit my mandatory retirement date in 2016. Had I not hit my mandatory retirement date, I would not be standing here as your state treasurer or nominee for governor. I would still be serving, because serving was and is the honor of my lifetime. But in uniform and now out of uniform, I do my best to live my life following the Army's 7 principles. So loyalty, duty, respect, service, honor, integrity, personal courage. That's right. And those are the values that I bring to the Treasurer's office in Harrisburg every day, and those are the values that I will bring to the Governor's office next January. So as your treasurer, I am the fiscal watchdog for $180 billion. Your taxpayer dollars, every dollar was earned by somebody. But you know what? Being the treasurer allows me also to do some things for veterans. I get to give back military decorations that come in from abandoned safe deposit boxes. That's one of my very favorite things. So since being in office, I've returned 582 military decorations, including 13 Purple Hearts, 3 Bronze Stars, and a Gold Star medal. And you know what? Pennsylvania's veterans, they deserve a governor who will fight for them as hard as they have fought for us. But you know what? Today, that is a little bit lacking sometimes for those who deserve our greatest thanks, our veterans, okay? So I want you to think about it. These heroes are the most disciplined, mission-driven, and proven job applicants. And that's why under a Garrity Ritchie administration, we are going to make hiring veterans a priority. So we will provide a $3,000 tax credit to businesses that hire a full-time veteran, $1,500 for a part-time veteran, and that is renewable every single year that that veteran is employed by your business. And speaking of veterans coming home with world-class skills, you know what, there's a lot of times at licensing boards, they don't give them credit for the skills that they've earned. And that is going to, that's absolutely going to change on day one. We're going to expand VA qualifying certification tests. We're going to enforce existing credentialing laws, and we're going to make Pennsylvania the top destination for veterans pursuing higher education. Now, okay, we can applaud for that. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. So one example is when you are going to get your LPN, okay, under our program, we will take 10 months off the licensing time. And you know what? It's going to save veterans over $18,000 in GI bill benefits. And here's another example. So CDLs, wouldn't it be great to allow veterans who have worked with heavy machinery to be driving a semi instead of illegals that can't speak English? All right. So these are truly real world benefits impacting Pennsylvania heroes. So we will work to provide veterans with the employment opportunities, also the health care that they deserve, and we're also going to make sure that no veteran who served our country ever sleeps without a roof over their head. We've seen successful programs like these, what they can deliver. So to our west, along the Turnpike, Tunnels to Towers put up a facility in Harrisburg, 80 veteran home, okay? So not only do they house these veterans, they provide job training, mental health support, addiction treatment. There is no reason that this model can't be replicated across the state, and we will. Now, Matt, this one's near and dear to your heart. We need to make sure veterans can stay in their homes. So right now, because of our state constitution, it limits property tax exemption to veterans, even disabled veterans. So we're going to change that. So we will advance a constitutional amendment. So we'll expand eligibility, protect surviving spouses, how about that, and ensure no disabled veteran ever has to worry about losing their home simply because of where life takes them. Now, listen, I don't pretend to be this all-knowing governor like some governors, you know. And I promise you that our Commonwealth's veterans will always have a seat at the table on any veterans issue. In fact, since I first announced this Veteran Coalition in June, I heard from a lot of veterans, and they said, you know, we have all these great programs, but sometimes they're a little bit difficult to navigate. So they had this idea, which I'm adopting, and it is to create a Veterans Ambassador Program. And that person will work with veterans and make sure that they know all the benefits that they're entitled to for serving. Now, yep. Finally, this is what the last one I'm going to talk about, although we have a lot more. So we're going to follow the charge issued by President Lincoln 159 years ago. And that is to care for him who shall have borne the battle, but also for his widow and his orphan. We owe our Gold Star families our deepest gratitude, appreciation, and thanks. And you know what? They deserve a Commonwealth that recognizes their sacrifice in return. But Pennsylvania does not have a formal Gold Star registry. Did you know that? And so we're not recognizing families of those who gave their full measure of devotion to our nation. So we're going to establish the Commonwealth's first Gold Star registry. We're going to guarantee annual outreach, and we're going to make sure that we have a Gold Star Families Day every September at the Capitol. So I told you earlier, one of the favorite things about being treasurer doesn't have anything to do with money at all. It has to do with giving back military decorations. So I thought I would end with this story about a return that was really meaningful to me. If you guys want to hear one story. Okay, all right. So you know, many military medals and decorations, they're rightfully awarded to the veteran who were in them or their family. But this medal stands as a testament to families. And the medal had been presented to Agnes Morrison of Schuylkill County. She visited the grave of her son, Private First Class Joey Morrison, in 1933 in France. So Joey was in the Army's 554th Ambulance Service when his field hospital was hit by artillery fire. So he was killed in action September 1st, 1918, 10 days before the end of World War I. So I was able to return this medal to Joey's great niece, Christine, at a ceremony that we did at Schuylkill County. And she shared Joey's letter that he wrote to his parents, and I'm going to read part of it to you. So it said in part, "Father, I clearly understand the step that I am taking, and very likely I will have to endure hardships, and in the end, receive very little thanks, but someone has got to do it, and why should I be the slacker? It is the least of my thoughts, and I can feel that I have done my part in defense of humanity and bringing this terrible war to an end." So it's in moments like this, I always think about my favorite Bible verse, which is John 15:13. "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." So whether thank you. So whether it was a century ago in the trenches in Europe or today in the deserts in the Middle East, the sacrifice our nation's veterans make on the battlefield are worthy of honor and solemn remembrance. And honoring our veterans means ensuring that they're taken care of, not just when they're on the battlefield, but when they come off the battlefield. And as your next governor, that is the solemn vow that I make to all of you. Thank you for coming out. God bless all of you. God bless Pennsylvania. And God bless the United States. Thank you.
Be a father, raise a daughter and a son. Be a lover to their mother, everything to everyone. Up and at 'em bright and early, I'm all business in my suit. Yeah, I'm dressed up for success, from my head down to my boots. I don't do it for the money, there's bills that I can't pay. I don't do it for the glory,